All right, we are live. First live stream ever, you feel me? But in this live stream, we're going to be going through. Ooh, I'm out of breath because I had to run up the stairs. But we're gonna go through everything in this live stream, all right? So this is going to be Let's Talk Part 5. I guess first off, I'll just give it a little second here just so I can pull up some stuff. Let me see here. All right, so this is going to be Let's Talk Part 5. I guess to go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty of everything that is going on, first we want to get into good old Ukraine and Russia. So as we know, as of about last night, today's the 24th. Well, really like the morning of today, Ukraine launched like a full-scale invasion. And I mean, not Ukraine, but Russia launched a full-scale invasion into Ukraine. It said the assault began hours before dawn with a series of missile attacks against locations near the capital of Kyiv, as well as the use of long-range artillery against the city of Kharkiv near the Russian border. It quickly spread across central and eastern Ukraine as Russian forces attacked the country from three sides. So as we know for a while now, I don't think it's new news to anybody, but as we know for a while now, Vladimir Putin has wanted Ukraine for quite a minute, and it looks like he finally getting what he wants, and at no cost to anything. He's just doing what he wants. But hold on one second. Yeah, so he's just doing what he wants. And the crazier thing about it is when Trump was in office, right? Like I keep saying that every single time I make a video about this, they said, oh, Trump was colluding with Russia, Russia this, Russia that, he's Putin's puppet. But when you look at it, you didn't see any of Russia trying to invade Ukraine under Trump. Now everybody can say, oh, he tried. No. Putin and Trump both, to me, are crazy people. But Putin knows that Trump is crazy and he will get crazy if he has to. So when it comes to that sort of conflict, I feel like that's why we never saw Putin try any funny business when it came to Trump, because he wasn't going for it. So now we have Biden in office. Nothing against Biden, but he botched Afghanistan. Not only did he botch Afghanistan, but he also, is, in my opinion, the whole reason that Putin has invaded Ukraine is because Biden seemed weak in front of the whole world. And that's just honestly my opinion, because Biden and Putin have had different conversations with each other for who knows how long. And every time Putin just laughs at Biden. Biden comes out with all these threats that I guess seem real scary, and Putin just laughs. Then Biden said, oh, Putin's a killer. Putin laughed. And it just goes on and on. It's just like Putin doesn't see any type of fear or any type of threat from Biden, if we're going to be honest. So now that he's invaded, Biden's like, we need to sanction. I put down hard sanctions against the Russians and everything. And now he's announced, additional sanctions against, Biden's announced additional sanctions against Russia and limitations on what can be exported. But to me, it's just like, it's too late. Like, Putin has wanted Ukraine. Putin's now invading Ukraine. It's not really like much anything else can really happen. I mean, yeah, sanctions are cool. Put them down on Russia so they can, feel the pressure. But at the same time, it's just already like he's already invaded kind of Ukraine. Like it's gonna be his. Um, and yeah, that's just what it is to me in my eyes. Besides that, for the American people, when it comes to these sanctions, Biden's like, the American people, gas prices are gonna go up. Um, if I'm gonna try to make sure they don't go up a lot for you guys, but regardless, the gas pump is gonna go crazy. Gas is already super high because of inflation, which sanctions, like I said, are cool that we're trying to put on Russia, but I personally feel like the American people have been feeling getting hit in our wallets all year. Everybody feels it at the grocery store. Everybody's feeling it at the gas pump. Everybody's feeling increased prices just trying to eat fast food. We're feeling this influx of everything. And now that, Russia's invaded Ukraine, I mean, we're just going to feel it even more. We stopped the gas pipeline here, the Keystone, which Biden signed executive orders, like what, 30 of them the first week or so he's in office, which stopped the Keystone pipeline here. And so we're not getting our gas here. We got to go to Russia, where like most of our oil is from. And so gas is just going to go bananas. Someone just this morning posted to their story that at an Atlanta gas station today, gas was $4.70 for premium, bro. I drive premium. There is no way I am going to drive my car through Atlanta if gas is $4.70 a gallon. $4.70 a gallon, bro. That's crazy. But really, all we could do for Ukraine is just pray for the people in Ukraine, the innocent lives. Pray for the bombings and different things like that. And this honestly makes me think like China is like eyeing Taiwan, like Taiwan, you looking real good. So after Russia does this to Ukraine, I wouldn't be surprised if China decides to do an attack on Taiwan. I guess we'll just put sanctions on them, even though almost everything is from China. So I don't really understand, what more we could do to stop any of this. I don't think, however, we will go to war, like saddle up, put on our backpacks, our troops, send us out there, and we're gonna go start shooting. Biden just had like a press conference where he was addressing everything live. And he said, we're not sending troops. We're not going over there. We're just going to do the sanctions and everything like that. But, I mean, I don't really know, like, how we could stop any of this. I mean, the press tried to ask Biden questions, and he couldn't really answer the questions. He didn't really have any backup besides, like reading off the teleprompter what he has written. So it's not really much I see Biden really doing. If we're just gonna be 100% honest, it's not really much I see him doing. Besides that, he's just gonna be doing his own. He's just gonna be doing his own thing, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Now we're gonna go ahead and get into the Freedom Truckers. So if you haven't been paying attention, there have been Freedom Truckers inside of Canada who have been what is the word for it? Protesting peacefully against the vaccine mandates in Canada. Now these are the truckers. These are the working class people doing a protest, and all they're doing is blockading. I forgot the name of the road that they're blockading, this central transport area. I know that this area that they're blockading with the trucks for like a couple of weeks now. I think it may be over. I'm not entirely sure. But they were blockading this place where all of the merchandise or commerce comes through this area. Now, the people who are doing this type of blockade, like I said, these are your everyday working class people. So they would just put up the trucks, just honk all day. Now this went on for like 2 weeks or so where they're just honking and honking and honking. And so people at first were like, oh, okay, like maybe this will end. They kept it going and kept it going. It's gotten so bad that Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, has now used emergency powers and become just straight authoritarian when it comes to these truckers. So there's no violent people at these, the truckers doing the freedom convoy when it comes to them protesting. They're just have their trucks blocking the road and just honking. So it started off where he was making threats to the freedom truckers and everything, and then you had different groups, because if they're just gonna sit here wasting gas, in these locations, what is GoFundMe? People had raised, I think, like over $5 million, 2 million, some crazy amount of money for these truckers. The Canadian government shut that down. They said you guys are getting no money, and they just completely banned or canceled their GoFundMe account. So then a new type of account called Give, Send, Go, where you can send money just like that. They tried to send the truckers money as well. The Canadian government shut that down as well. Then Justin Trudeau, he started actually, really ramping up his authoritarian type dictatorship when it comes to Canada. And so not only did they stop the money from coming, but then he said, well, if you guys are blocking the road, you guys are going to get arrested. And so they actually started sending out people on horses, trampling them, arresting them. And this is how the authoritarian style of what Canada has going on is getting bad. The Canadian government even froze the trucker protesters' bank accounts. So they couldn't even touch their money. So like, let's say I wanted to donate money to, I don't know, so-and-so trucker. The Canadian government would freeze my bank account and freeze their bank account. Now, in the times we're living in, that is very scary. Anyone who says, oh, it's okay for the government to just freeze your bank account upon their actual wishes, that's actually kind of scary, because if they can just freeze your bank account, we're getting closer and closer towards that beast system that's in the book of Revelations, where you won't be able to buy or sell. And think about it, the way the world is going, we're all told everything's going to be digital, no more cash, cashless societies, cryptocurrency, digital dollars, everything like that. So not only do you have crypto, digital dollars, you have the Canadian government freezing bank accounts. If you're paying attention, you can see that the beast system is being built little by little. When it comes to, I'm going to try not to talk about this too long, but when it came to like COVID and all the rules and regulations they had for that, it was like, okay, it's getting control-ish, and then it just stopped being like kind of sciences, and then it started becoming just, we're power hungry, we want to control you. If you don't do what we tell you to do, then this is going to happen. But if you look around the world, all other countries were taking extra steps. Australia setting up concentration camps for people. I made videos constantly about Australia, where if you had the vid, you got sent to a camp and you could not leave. I believe that in China or Japan, if you had the vid, they locked you in your room and made sure you did not get out until you did not have it. So now we have the Canadian government, has nothing to do with the virus, but now because somebody's protesting and all they're doing is honking their horns and it's peaceful, now they're freezing people's bank accounts where they can't receive money. They're arresting them, doing all these different things. And even Justin Trudeau, he's like, I'm going to just use my powers, emergency powers. I guess this trucker thing is an emergency. The truckers, they're still holding their ground, but it's not much you can do when your government is overreaching on the people. And then we also have now where we're trying to have a freedom trucker type of assembly here inside of America. And they're like, yo, we're going to go to DC. We're going to set ourselves up. And now that they're going to DC to set themselves up, our government is like, we're deploying the National Guard. We're going to have all the National Guard there to just attack all the actual protesters, make sure nothing. And it's just like, the way the world is going, to me, it's becoming more authoritarian. It's becoming more, we can do anything to you guys if you guys don't agree, you don't align with what we want you to align with. And that's just is what it is. And so it's not really much people can do. Either you like if you live in Canada and you do something that they don't agree with and they just freeze your bank account. I mean, in all honesty, what could you do? Like you're out there protesting and they just freeze your bank account. Like it's not much you can really do. I guess you just hope for the best. Um, so yeah. And then the other day, I was sitting up here thinking like, how have we kind of gotten to the point we've gotten to where, like in 2019, before it was 2020 and COVID hit, things seemed a lot more, I guess, like casual, kind of like, not like, I mean, me personally, I wasn't really paying attention to things like how I do now. Now I'm like, the left, like liberals, Democrats, they're so far left. The right is barely that far right. Like if you truly think about it, conservatives, their positions haven't really moved all that much since they've had positions, versus liberals and Democrats have gone from let's try to be progressive, let's try to make everybody equal, to now we have different pronouns, now we're teaching these things like weird stuff in school. Now they're actually saying we're not racist but yet doing racist things. Like the other day I saw, I think I actually have the meme in my phone here. Let me actually see, give me like 1 second. Okay, here it goes. I don't know if you can see it, but it's I believe it's the Quaker oatmeal guy. It is Ain't Your Mama for Ain't Your Mama syrup, Uncle Ben, and I believe the Indian girl, for she's from some type of product. And you remember at one point people were like, "Oh, that's so racist. That's so racist." That they got rid of Ain't Your Mama off the syrup, so now it's just Aunt Pearl Miling Company. Uncle Ben's bad. And then what's crazy is the only person who hasn't changed is the Quaker Oats dude, and he's the only white man. The black girl is gone. The black man is gone. The Indian racist is no longer. I believe they changed the Cleveland Indians names. I did a video on that too. And it's just like, they're so progressive. They've regressed. Like society went from being integrated, blacks, whites, all different races interacting with each other, to now it's just kind of like we're like going back segregated. Like we like are going back in history. You would think we would progress, but we've gone back. Everything's racist now. You can't hold anybody accountable for anything. And to me, it's just like, how do we get to this point? And then I started thinking like, maybe it was people being locked in. They didn't have nothing else to do but create problems for themselves. So then they created issues. They started looking at gender weird. And then they were like, well, it's more than one gender. And then they confused gender and sex. But then I'm just like, I feel like the culture has shifted. Before we could all agree. Like there were just certain things that we just across the line, we just agreed on. Now those same things that we used to agree on, people are like, no, that's bad. And it kind of reminds me of like evil is now good and good's now evil. Because when I'm thinking about it, it's like I saw, for example, Jordan Peterson. He was talking to Joe Rogan, and it was a clip where he was explaining how like the Bible is like truth, how the reason the culture has shifted is because when you have the Bible and everybody's foundations were the same, where they said, okay, this is the truth. A boy is a boy, a girl is a girl, there are two genders, yada yada. Now we're gonna, we all know that. Then when people say, I don't really like this truth, I'm gonna go over here to this camp. While some are still in the truth, the more people go to the other camp, the less eye to eye they see, and the more the society just falls apart, because you no longer can talk in the same language as other people. Like for me, I can come to people with facts, tell them, all sorts of different things based on facts, and they will still try to hold to their opinion like it matters at that point. Like it's okay for everyone to have an opinion, but when there are facts on the table, your opinion can't override facts just because you want to stick to your opinion. Like there's truth now. Like most people, just for example, most people think in 2016 when Trump won the election, it had something to do with Putin's interference or him working with Russia. It's come out that Hillary Clinton had paid a probe to push this Russian propaganda to delegitimate or I forgot how you really say it, the election for Trump. And it's actually come out that that's all her doing, And none of it's really true. And to this day, you will still hear people say, yeah, he worked with Russia, blah, blah, blah. And now, like, if we go back to what I was talking about earlier in this stream, it's like, if he was so involved with Russia, why didn't Russia invade Ukraine under him? Why is Russia invading Ukraine under Biden? And it's just like one was strong, the other's weak. I don't know of a single thing in my brain that, Biden has actually done successful. I try to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I can't. He's done nothing. He's done nothing. He came in with all these promises. He's let people down. The student loan debt, the border being under control, him stopping the virus. He hasn't done any of it. And I'm not trying to bash him, but I would rather someone keep it 100 with me. Like, y'all, we're gonna go through some rough times. Inflation's gonna hit. There's nothing we can do about it right now. But, I just recommend you guys save some money so that way you guys can pay these higher prices. Instead of inflation's gonna be transitory, it's gonna be over in a little bit. Facts, like, let's go, Brandon. Like, and that's even considered violent now. Like, if you say that, if you've seen, people have even been taken off airplanes, people have been everything for let's go, Brandon. It's like for 4 years they yelled F Trump, F Trump. YG came out with a song with it, everybody jamming it, yeah, yeah. And then you say let's go, Brandon, all of a sudden it's violence, it's hate speech. I also have you guys seen where that Democratic senator, I forgot what state he was in, but some guy, a black man, walked into his office, pointed a gun at him, and tried to assassinate him. Now the dude missed his shot and he kind of like grazed the guy or whatever, and he got locked up for like a day. Then Black Lives Matter came and bailed him out. Now, as like a black man in the black community, like, maybe people don't want to listen to what I have to say, but I feel like most of the problems for black people do stem from us not holding each other accountable. Why would Black Lives Matter if they're so for the black man and black woman or black family, go out the way to bail out someone who's a danger to society, who's trying to assassinate senators and things, if they're really for, like, that doesn't make sense. Like, that's what I'm talking about. The culture has changed. Like, where does that logic, line up? It doesn't. The only thing I've seen Black Lives Matter actually have happened since they've been found and they were a big thing through 2020 and 2021 is them being exposed for where's all this money going? Because all these families who they use the face of all their, dead actual relatives and things like that, they haven't seen any of the money. And if you take a look at the black community, where is the money going? But yet the founders are buying $1 million houses. They have 5 and 6 houses. They're going to the strip club, spending all on cocaine and strippers. And it's just like how do these organizations exist? I feel like most of this stuff is either psyops or stuff to distract people, because there's no way people actually fall for these things. It's just no way. But yeah, like, inflation's going up, gas is going up, the stock market is crashing. It's like everything is saying we need somebody to help us get this right. So, like I said, when I was looking out on the horizon, I'm like, they are building the Antichrist system, the beast system, whatever you want to call it, right in front of our eyes. Everything's going digital. Gas prices are going up, cars are going electric. I even seen that, like I said, if the government of Canada can shut down people's bank accounts, freeze their bank accounts just for peacefully protesting, just imagine what they'll be able to do to electric cars. They'll press a button, your car don't work. They'll hit a button, you cannot buy or sell anything. Your bank account doesn't work. And then they're changing the language of everything to where things don't mean anything anymore. They mean this or they mean that. And the two sides are just so far apart. Liberals here, Democrats here. Now, in my eyes, everything that's negative, everything that seems evil is coming from the liberal, Democrat, progressive area. It's not really coming from anywhere else. For it's so weird. I don't understand. Like, I truly don't understand. Every day I just wake up like, maybe one day I'll understand. And it's like the more I try to, it's the more I'm just like, I just got to focus on God. Because other than that, I don't really see how any of this can uphold itself any longer. We have lots of debt. The prices are going up. Minimum wage has risen to like levels where people are like, oh, we need more money. Minimum wage up. But yet the price of everything's gone up so high that you getting that minimum wage raise isn't making a difference. If anything, we're actually paying more out of pocket now with the raise than we were with no raise before. And everyone sees it. There's not a single person who goes in the grocery store and doesn't see the effects. You know, I told people for months, let's stock up on food. Let's stop spending money. If you have credit or debit credit cards, try to pay those off. Save your money. Then the stores are empty. Price of chicken's gone up. Price of just regular stuff has just skyrocketed. But yet they're promoting so many things that are like just complete nonsense. And then people wonder, I don't have any money. They're doing this. Everything's it's like we have to realize that the policies and the stuff that's in place, like I said, you know, Biden said they're sanctioning Russia. We the American people, there's a price to freedom. And at some point, I'm like, we have to balance and realize like the price to freedom. Okay, that's cool. We do need to help out Ukrainians, you know, as best as we can. But we are suffering just as much as, you know, we may not be suffering as much as Ukraine. I'm just gonna keep it honest. But we've been suffering long enough. Like, we don't like there's gonna come a time and point where people are just gonna realize we don't have the money to be able to continue this. Like, there's no way we can pay for anything that we're paying for. There's no way we can continue anything that we're actually doing. In all honesty, it's just getting kind of crazy. I don't know how people don't see what's going on. Maybe I'm paying attention too much. Everyone that if you're watching this, you know, thank you for watching, but I know you see what's actually going on out here compared to what people are trying to do. And then the media, you know, I could go on and on about the media. You know, the media has fear mongered us for months over COVID. Then now, after that's come to a halt, and everyone's changed up their science because now the science shows different all of a sudden, when people have been saying that the science has been changing constantly. Now the media is fear mongering Ukraine and all this. Like I said, Biden said we're not going to war, but I feel like the media has pushed people in such far directions on like what's actual reality. A lot of people don't know what reality is, like what's true, what's not true, how to differentiate, because everybody seems to be getting their news. Well, there are still people who watch CNN, which I highly don't recommend, but most people get their news from like alternative media sources. The whole reason Joe Rogan was being attacked and slandered and they were trying to get on him so bad is because Joe Rogan's podcast alone has more viewers and more people who actually tune in to him than tune in to CNN on a daily basis or whenever he streams. So people are like, why are they really coming after Joe? And it's not that they're coming after Joe because Joe's spreading misinformation. It's because Joe doesn't go along with the get along, go along gang, and they don't like that. If you think about it, they don't like anyone who goes against what the narrative is. It reminds me of the book 1984. In the book, it was a certain part where people had the truth, just like what the other little, I forgot what they called it, what the main group was called, like the party or something like that. And the whole reasoning behind that was like, there is no truth unless it comes from us. You can't tell any truth. I can't tell you this is an iPhone unless it comes from me. You can't say that. If you do, that's misinformation, disinformation. We got to smear you. But if I say it, then it's truth. It's just like when Fauci came out and said, I am the science. Like, I don't know. Like, science, the whole point of science is to have a hypothesis. Whenever someone comes to a conclusion, it's tested by other scientists until they can, like, delegitimize it. That's the whole point of science. You test and test and test and test and test and test until it's delegitimized. Now we have this new science where whatever they say is law is law. Like, I've been suspended so many times on YouTube for telling the truth months before the media finally decided to start saying it. And it's just like, we can't keep living like this. Like, I don't know. Truth is very hard to find. If you find people that are speaking truth, listen to them, because pretty soon a lot of people who think they have the truth have just been brainwashed by indoctrination, propaganda, listening to these media sources, and it's really not good for them. But you don't know you're in a cult because you're in a cult. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I don't really have much else to say. I just had to really get those out. But this has been Let's Talk Part 5. Thank you guys for watching. If you have watched, thank you for the thumbs up. I'm going to try to live stream a little bit more. Maybe have like some topics so I don't just go through like rambling. But I do think that I actually did discuss some pretty significant things. But yeah, man, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. And yeah, it's been your boy Chad, and I'm out. Peace.